Hello friends, welcome to our channel once again. Alright, my name is Sam. So in today's video guys, I'm going to show you how to trade Bitcoin profitably using Trendline. Okay, I believe you have heard the popular say that trend is your friend. Okay, the big money from any financial market is made when the market is trending. So how can you take advantage of this trend to make the biggest money ever from Bitcoin? Alright, so I'm going to show you how you can take advantage of the market. If that sounds interesting to you, you can just subscribe to this channel and like this video. Alright, so before we dive into the chart practically, because I'm going to show you using the current Bitcoin chart, so let me establish a foundation of something that you need to be aware of. So what is a trend? Okay, when do we say that market is trending? Alright, so a trend is said to occur when a market makes an impulse and it corrects itself and also makes an impulse, whereby this impulse has broken the previous high, so making it impulse, correction, and impulse. So any market that does this is said to what? Establish a trend. So you can draw a trend like this. So now there are different types of trend. There are kind of a healthy trend whereby the markets keep respecting this trend line and it keep going up, respecting this trend line and it keep going up. So, and also there are a kind of zigzag trend whereby the market does not respect the trend line and such like this. So how can you make money irrespective of the kind of trend the market is from? So how do you draw the trend? That's the first thing we need to answer. So for us to draw a trend line, now we need to establish that irrespective of whether the market is making a healthy trend or this kind of steep trend, then the rules still remains the same. That in drawing a trend line, once the market makes an impulse, it makes a correction, it makes another impulse, you draw the trend line. Now, if the market makes another correction here and makes another impulse and makes another correction here and makes another impulse, now what does it tell you? Now, if from a wave theory or fundamental, it says that this correction and this correction, they are not of the same size. So meaning that this one and this will be on the same trend, okay? So in 4 hours, you might have this trend. In 1 hour, you might have this trend, okay? So what does it tell you now? That anytime this trend is broken, definitely there might be a retest on this, okay? So that's another thing, second thing that I need to understand for you to be profitable in trading trend line, that you need to understand the market cycle, okay? 4 hour cycle is different from 1 hour cycle. Monthly cycle is different from daily cycle and stuff like that. So when a market is completing a monthly cycle, then you know that the market might reverse and retrace, and it might take many years for you to reverse and complete that cycle. So anytime this cycle is completing, you can see the market will be coming down to 4 hours. Assuming this is 4 hours, assuming this is 1 hour. Now, assuming this is what? Let's say this is 15 minutes, all right? So you can see that whenever it's completing this, it's retesting the 1 hour. Whenever the 1 hour is completing, it's trading the 4 hours. Maybe there will be a bigger one here that will be like daily stuff. So that's why, first of all, you need to understand your time frame in trading. So assuming I'm a 1 hour time frame and I draw my trend in 1 hour time frame, that doesn't mean I will not draw my trend in 4 hours time frame. So anytime a trend is broken in 1 hour time frame, then the next support might be the 4 hour time frame or daily time frame, and case might be. So having established that, then the second thing we need to establish before we dive into the practical market is understanding the momentum of the market, okay? The momentum of the market. How do I explain momentum? Now, assuming you throw up an orange, okay? You throw up an orange to the sky, and the orange will get to a particular point before start dropping, okay? So that is the highest level before the force of gravity sets in, okay? So now, the force that is pushing this orange to this point, this is the highest peak of that force, and it starts dropping. So the same thing applies to the market. There are forces that pushes the market, okay? So whereby the force start coming down, okay? The force start coming down and the market is still going, okay? That tells you that the momentum is weak, and that is where we apply our strategy. So our strategy of trading trend line breakout is simple. And how does it go? Now, whenever there are, okay, let me bring up, we use a tool called MACD. I believe you're familiar with. There are different type of MACD, but I use this particular MACD, 4C MACD. This 4C MACD, because of the nature of the drawings, okay, it makes it easy for us to see a divergence. So what we are looking for from this MACD is simple. We are looking for whereby the market is trending up like this, and the MACD is going down, meaning there's a divergence. So that's what we are looking at. So once we see this taking place in the market, then we'll now follow our trend, and anytime the trend market breaks that trend, then we're taking the position. Okay, it's very simple and it's very crystal. So I will repeat that many times in the practical market, and I will show you how to take advantage of it and be profitable in your career. Please don't forget to subscribe on this channel as we dive into the practical market. Now let's start from Bitcoin. What Bitcoin did from this is a 4 hours chart. This is March this year. Okay, now you can see from here. Now we'll see if you have been drawing a trend line from here, we can see we follow this trend, we draw this trend, and the market breaks up here and it's still going. You can see now this trend now doesn't go inside, but you can see that the market is going steep. So now we followed another trend. We keep drawing trend here, the market is going. We keep drawing trend here, the market is going. So what happens here? Now this is where it's setting. You keep watching the MACD. So once we have a divergence on MACD, you see the MACD is coming down from here to here. This one is lower than here. So and the market is going up. At the break of this trend, guys, or how do we determine a break? A break means that the candle closes below this trend. At the break of this, that is a potential sell position. Okay, we are taking this. Remember, we are taking this sell because not just that the trend breaks, we are taking this sell because the momentum is weak and the market is still going up and the trend has been broken. So what tells us that this whole move has ended and now we experience this. Okay, so the same thing applies. Now you can see now. Okay, now so you see another one here. You see that the market makes a high, it corrects himself, it makes another high here, and we draw this trend. And you can see between this peak, guys, and this peak is there divergence. So we can easily relate to it on the MACD. There's a potential divergence. So at the break of these guys, we'll be able to take this trade, and this will be our stop loss, and then we go. Okay, so let's follow the market as it keep dropping. As it keep dropping here, now you can see the market keep dropping, and now there is keep drawing your trend line. You keep drawing your trend line and drawing your trend line and drawing your trend line here. So there is no divergence here. So but now watch and see what happens here. This is another one here. There is a break on. There is a trend break here. So this trend break here, and you can see this is a low. This is the lowest point. I believe if you go to 1 hour between this lowest point and this, there should be a divergence here. So then we'll be able to take this trade. All right. So the same thing applies here. If you come here now, the market start going up. Let me clear this so you can see it clearly. The market start going up. You keep drawing your trend. This is the first trend, and it makes this deep. So you can relate to it. Since as this one makes another high, you can relate to it now. Still draw your trend like this. So you now ask between this high and this high, is there divergence? Obviously, there is a divergence. Okay, and you can see now the market dropped drastically, and then it drops to this point. Now on 4 hours, you can see there is no divergence, even though there is a trend break. There's no divergence here. This one is still the lowest point. There's no divergence. So we're not going to take a buy. You can see what happened after that. We're not going to take a buy. So the market still makes another lower point here. So it makes another lower point here, which is this. All right. So it makes another lower point. So because of that, we are going to put our trend. The last lowest trend will be here and here, from this point to this point. And this is the lowest point, and is that divergence between this and this? Obviously there is a divergence here. So at the break of this, we'll be able to take the trade here, and since then you put your stop loss here, you'll be able to enjoy this trade. So even if you follow the current trend of Bitcoin. Follow the current trend of Bitcoin here on 4 hours. You can see the market has been trending. It has been trending, no divergence, a trend, no divergence. Now between this is a very, you just tap this high here. Now if you go to 1 hour, I think you see a very clear divergence between this point and this point, and that is the reason we have this. Now but here it's obvious now in 4 hours that the market has just broken, and from this point to this point there is a clear divergence which is seen, and that is why and the trend has been broken. So what do we expect from here? We expect a drop. Okay, we expect a drop. At least half of this move will correct himself. Okay, currently, so half of this move will correct himself. If you go to 1 hour, I think you appreciate it the more, and you can see the power of divergence and understanding the trend. So you can see now that the market, since starting from this point and this point, there is a clear divergence on the market. So and since the market has broken, then we're able to see this 3-wave correction. So now if you are trading a 1 hour, this is the highest point. Okay, so your trend will go like this. Okay, if you are trading a 1 hour chart, this is the highest point. And I advise every if you are new to trading, please trade 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour, don't go below 1 hour, because 1 hour will give you a lot of potential trade, and you will not wait a long time. You just, within a day, you'll be able to take a profitable trade. Within a day or 2 days, you'll be able to take a profitable trade with using 1 hour chart. So you can see from this point and this point there is a potential divergence. You're able to take the trade. From this point and this point there's a potential divergence. You'll be able to take this trade, and down we go. And if you are taking a trade on 1 hour, you draw your trend on 4 hours, and you'll be able to see when that market tests on 4 hours. And the same thing applies to every instrument. If I still go to Ethereum market, the same thing will apply here. You can see the market makes what? A trend here, and is there divergence? No divergence. And this trend still remains valid, even though the market went steep and is still going inside. Is there divergence? No divergence. But here now there is one divergence here. Watch and see. There is, the market is trending here, and this one is going down. So now, and you can see that the movement here is a bit sluggish. So in that scenario, that calls for, if you want to take this trade on a lower time frame. Whenever the structure is not clear on that particular time frame, it's not meant for that time frame, except you want to trade lower. Look at what happened. You have made money, but it's short-lived. You can see there's this trend break. You should have made this money, but it's short-lived. But if you're trading in 1 hour, you'll be trapped. But on 15 minutes, it's a very big market movement. Okay, so you can see now the market also break and makes a bigger higher high, sorry, and this higher high. Is there divergence between this and this? Yes, there is divergence, and at the break of this, we are taking the trade, and you can see that. Okay, we made this money, and now the market goes up higher. Is there divergence between this? There's no divergence, so we're not going to take this trade. You're not going to take the trade. Stick to your rules, guys. So then you go up, and between these points and this point, is there divergence? I think you can see that clearly. Yes, there is divergence. So what are we waiting for now? We're waiting for the market to break, and at the current scenario, what we're expecting from on Ethereum is something like this, and then we go, because this move potentially is over. Now this is 1 hour. If you go to 4 hours on Ethereum, let's see if you can have, if there is any divergence on Ethereum in 4 hours. Yes, there is a slight divergence. So what does it tell you? There will be a big pullback. Okay, there might be a big pullback because the market has been rallying for some days now, and whatever goes up will definitely come down. So there's a divergence in 1 hour. So we're expecting this to correct himself before the next move. You can see it clearly here too. This is a kind of ending diagonal. So it makes a high here, it corrects itself, keep going up, whereby the MACD keep coming down. So what it tells you, that at the break of this, you don't need to wait for any other thing but to sell, because you have made this profitable, massive profit. Now the same thing applies here, guys. It works on both sides of the market. It works on both sides of the market. Now look at for you to have gotten this, being on this trade, you see the market makes this lower low, and there is what? A lower high, and there's a break. Always wait for that break. Don't just trade because the market gives you divergence. No, and don't just trade because there is a trend breakout. It's wherever A agrees with B, it gives you a higher probability setup. Okay, whenever the trend agrees with the MACD and the trend breakout agrees with the MACD divergence, it gives you a higher probability setup, guys. Okay, that is how we roll on this, and that's how you remain profitable trading trend breakout using MACD. If you like this video, guys, kindly subscribe to this channel, guys, and help us share with your friend. I will see you on the next video.